Try again. Oh, there I am. Now they can hear me. Okay, we're going to start the demonstration. Keep on schedule. Okay, Trees of Corrales is a private family-owned wholesale nursery and growing operation that sells exclusively to nursery and landscape industry. It was incorporated in 1976 and has been a farm in the Coots family for more than 60 years. Trees of Corrales began modestly with an initial planting of about 1,400 trees and a workforce of 1. As of this morning, I've been told they have over 100,000 container and field-grown trees and a workforce of about 80. Big outfit for Corrales. They've also planted on land in Fort Sumner since 1982. Their primary goal is to grow, harvest, and ship specimen quality trees for use in the landscape. So let me introduce to you not only representing Trees of Corrales, but the president of Think Trees New Mexico, Andrew Lizigoli.
Thank you. It's amazing. I think you got that off our website, and it's amazing what you write and then you hear it. We're basically farmers, and we, over the years, and a lot of you guys have seen it, in the industry, there's been different ways that trees have been delivered to you: bare root, balled and burlapped in boxes, in slick walled pots. And what's great about Think Trees, oh, by the way, stop. This is Aaron Lamb, and he's the sales rep for Trees of Corrales in the Southern Tier Estates in the Southwest. And he is going to demonstrate what I'm about to describe. But before we go there, a lot of Think Trees, we've talked about circling roots and the issues that they bring to the table. So over the years, we've been trying to come up with the best package to provide you guys that prevents circling roots, so that when you buy something, if you buy a Trees of Corrales tree, it's not going to have, or the likelihood of circling roots is diminished. And I appreciated Gary Johnson yesterday saying, we're never going to get it 100%, but we're going in that direction. The new direction, and that's what we want to bring you at Think Trees, is kind of the newest stuff. And stuff is a horticultural term. You look it up in the glossaries. It's really a good word to use. Anyway, this is sort of the new direction, and a lot of you can't really see because you're sitting down. So quite frankly, if you want, feel free to get up and walk on over the sides. This is what we call a packaged tree. It's no longer a bag tree. Gary Johnson yesterday said, I think if I got it right, the two things he liked best in terms of planting a tree was air pruning pots or a bag grown tree, and in this case, a packaged tree. Air pruning pots, if you guys are familiar with them, there's a lot of holes in the sides. Here in the Southwest, very difficult to keep that hydrated. So this is the next best step. So what Aaron is going to show you is how easy it is to remove these. This is Aaron's first attempt at this. Hopefully the knife is sharp. It's just a basic utility knife, and you go ahead and get started. The other nice thing about this is this package versus like a balled and burlap tree, which is our bread and butter right now. Two guys, oh, we should have lifted this before he did it. Two guys can easily maneuver this around. It's a lot easier to do that. It's easier to get more on a truck. When we load semis, for instance, we get about 110 2-inch trees on a semi. With these, we can get over 200. And with freight doing what it's doing, it's quite amazing. But anyway, this is how long it takes to get it out. And then you just drop it in the hole. The beautiful thing, and you guys can come up later during lunchtime and the late break in the afternoon and look at the root systems. This one over here, we took out about a month ago and knocked the soil off so you can see what the roots are like. Some of the things we're learning is depending on the liner, that's what we call it, what we put in the bag initially. That's another horticultural glossary term is liner. What we put in the package makes a big difference. That's got to be a plant generally that we put in. It's either bare root or it comes out of a air pruned pot. These are Gymnocladus, Kentucky coffee trees, and it's espresso, which in a morning like this, I needed a lot of, but that's because it doesn't have any seeds, so it's called espresso. I love it. But anyway, these came out of our field, so it didn't have the ideal root system. This is the first one we actually pulled out over here to see what kind of roots it developed. And that's not exactly what we're after, but it's way better than what we were getting when we were growing in slick wall pots. So this is what we're after. Hey, Aaron, let's get this out. Pull this out. The other thing that's kind of a benefit, and it's really the scourge of the green industry, is we got a bunch of plastic refuse that I don't like. There's attempts. How do we get this into a biodegradable package? We're going that direction, but we're not there yet. But that's a lot smaller and less of a carbon footprint versus this. Now, granted, you can use this later in a lot of other usages, but that said, generally this stuff goes to the landfill. That's quite a bit less. So that's the other thing all of us in the green industry need to work on, is how to reduce that carbon footprint. And that's kind of the grower side, the farming side, the nursery side, what we're after trying to do. So anyway, I'm not sure how much more time we got, but we got more time. We got time. So questions, fire away, and I'll repeat them. Go ahead, sir. Great question. So different growers have done different things. They've either gone with a media potting soil or they go with field soil. Some do a combination of the two. This happens to be a media that we do use. And that's the other thing that a lot of us are trying to do, is get more into composting on the farm. And that is primarily what goes into it. But that's a great question. You had a question. Is that Scott? Well, good to see you, man. Go ahead.
Is this something you guys are just doing with like bigger 2-inch material, 25-gallon kind of stuff? Or how big is their smoke?
Right. We're not going to be, at least presently, the plan is not to do it for like number 15s or 10s. It's more in what we're calling 25s or 35s, which is, we're probably going to do more 35s to get that 2-inch caliper tree. Do you guys all know, legally, we're not supposed to use the term 15-gallon. We're supposed to say a number 15. That's because that's not actually 15 gallons. But fortunately, there's no measuring police out there. So any other questions? Go ahead. Great question. Can we reuse those bags or packages? You really can't. Okay, so can we just yank it out of the package? I love this. Marketing is insane. But if you do that, it's generally not rooted enough to hold that ball together. We did try that because that would have been cool. Question.
Yeah. What percentage of trees would you say right now you're growing like this?
Okay. What percentage of trees are we doing with this method of production? It's really slim. We're in the kind of experimental stage. I think we did 200 last year, and we're going to do about 800 this year. The thought is eventually we're going to be doing, well, probably in the, if I have my way, if I was king, everything that we're currently marketing in 1 3/4 and 2 inch, selling in that sizes, will be grown this way. and B&B will be 2.5 inch and larger. But I'm not king. So we'll see where that goes. Scott.
Follow up, Andrew. I gave you a good idea. So to reuse, maybe they could be re-engineered with like zippers or lace up the side, or you could simply just undress it and redress the next one.
Zippers.
Huh?
What a great idea. Could we go to zippers?
Right here.
That's above my pay grade, but there you go, Scott. That's a good one. More questions. Yeah. Is it air permeable and water permeable? That's why I need to be more caffeinated to be able to get permeable out. They are both. There's no real drainage holes in these like there is in this. So it drains out pretty good. I think that also helps them when they're in your yard or we're growing them. You don't have to hydrate it as much as you would an actual air pruning pot, which, are you guys familiar with air pruning pots? They got a lot of holes in the side and there's a million different types. That's primarily the best way, if you're not going to plant a bare root liner out, the best way for us growers to receive a plant, if it's not grown in a package or bare root, is in an air pruning pot, because it keeps those roots from circling because of the air. Any other questions? I see you guys from Arbor. You guys are doing quite a few of these up in Colorado. And Washington, in Oregon. Gotcha. A lot of the industry is looking more towards this. And again, with freight this past year, and I'm not exaggerating, but it's almost doubled from what it was last year. It's becoming a huge factor in terms of where you get your plants from. And so it's something here locally, I say locally, in the Intermountain region, we're going to this, and a lot of other folks are too, because it really helps, keeps the freight costs down. Question? No. The question is, long-term, are we going to phase B&B out? That'll probably never happen for us because, you know, it's funny, that's kind of our DNA. So I don't know, but also on larger trees, it just seems like the B&B package is better. Where that is, if it's 2.5 inch, if it's 3, hard to tell. Box trees, and Gary Johnson shared this yesterday, he likes box trees. And I think other people are familiar with them, but the price of wood, I mean, my goodness, you guys know what's going on with that. That's through the roof. So that's box trees. I don't know if we're going to see much anymore, but this is way easier to handle, at least we feel. So, question? Great. So the question is roughing up the edges, and yeah, the size, just, you know, that sort of finger comb kind of thing. And again, we're learning. These have only been in this, we put these in these packages, I think it was April of 21. The hope is what we do is we put in what is basically called a finished head. The top of the tree is pretty much finished. All we're doing is rooting it out and then turning it within that year. So that's another way of ensuring that you're not getting a tree that's got circling roots, because quite frankly, you can't get an 1 3/4, 2 inch tree bare root into a pot this size. You're cutting off way too many roots. And then it's going to take, in our area, much longer to root it out. I think we're getting close to time, Tom. 4 minutes. So we got a few more questions. Yes, Scott.
What are we gonna do with this poor coffee tree now that it's out of its pot?
You got a way to get it home? I mean, if you do, it's great, because then we don't have to send. Okay, raise a hand. Who wants this tree? Okay, whoever you were, do you have a way to get it home? You're going all the way up to Farmington. Do you got a way to get it there? Okay, so sometime, yeah, it's yours. You got it. Okay. Thanks for asking that, because that saves us sending, again, carbon footprint. We don't have to bring people from Corrales to fetch it. Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir. Great question. We're looking at, I'm curious what you guys do with that, but we're looking at doing a number 25 is going to be like 1 3/4 inches. There might be some 1.5 inches of the really slower growing stuff, but a 35 will be definitely 2-inch. Is that kind of what you're doing? Yeah. Yeah. There's a 30 size. I'm learning. Thank you, Matt. Okay, so 30 to 35. You're going to start seeing this from other growers as well. But it's, I mean, what do you guys think about this concept? Does it resonate? Thumbs up? Sweet. I like it. I think we're done. While I have the microphone, don't forget the chainsaw. We don't have a lot of people doing the raffle stuff. Sorry, we can't use the term raffle. It's got to be drawing. Raffling is gambling. Drawing, for some reason, is not. We don't have a gambling license. So it's a drawing. So there's a drawing out there, and there's not as many folks signed up for it as there has been in the past. So there's a better chance of winning that chainsaw and a lot of the other stuff out there. So go for it. That money helps pay for folks that can't quite afford to come. So, okay, I think we're done. Thank you much.